not taking back over. We're all the same here. And I think that's why he goes to great pains to try to help them understand. But see, if you're Jews and you've been run off and now you're back, and you're in Rome and you've got the government watching you and the government willing to punish you for these little things, and then Paul tells you to be in complete subjection to the government, that's a radical thing. And then when Peter says the same thing in the midst of physical persecution, that's even crazier using our fleshly thinking. So we read in chapter 13 about the fact that we have to be subject to the government. That means a whole lot more to people that are under oppression than it does to those of us in freedom. In chapter 13, Romans chapter 13, verse 11. Here in this chapter, at the end of this chapter, in chapter 13, or into chapter 14 and chapter 15, he talks about spiritual maturity. And do this, knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now our salvation is nearer than when we first believed. The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Therefore let us cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light. Let us walk properly as in the day, not in revelry and drunkenness, not in lewdness and lust, not in strife and envy. But put on the Lord Jesus Christ, and make no provision for the flesh to fulfill its lust. We are to have a spiritual mindset. If you look back over in Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2, the most important passage as far as I'm concerned about the Christian life, it tells us that we're no longer to be conformed to the world, to be spiritually transformed, to develop a new mindset, a new way of thinking, a new way of walking, a new way of acting, everything. And he says this over in chapter 13 at the end of the chapter, that we're to put on Christ and to think differently. That leads into chapter 14 and 15, saying that we need to remember the weaker brethren and act in accordance with the gospel all the time so we don't cause others to stumble. Then in chapter 16, he gives a long list of greetings towards specific brethren. And then we come to the only other issue that is left to discuss, in the couple of minutes we have left, is why was this book written? Well, we've looked at some of the themes, some of the issues that were discussed. Paul had never met these people. I don't see why Paul had never been. Paul, obviously, I would think from all the studying I've done for the last couple of years, Paul obviously had been to Rome at some point. Paul was a Roman citizen because of where he was born. But he had not been to Rome to meet these brethren, had not been there in a long time. And so he had heard about their faith. He had never been there physically to shake their hands or hug them or give them a holy kiss or whatever they would do. He was never there physically with them, but he knew them, and he is writing to them. There's a couple of possible answers. One that's interesting that I came across, I think we can give some more thought to. You know how Paul and Barnabas, since have been sent off from Antioch over in the east, speculate that maybe he wanted to start a missionary base in the west, and Rome would have enough people and enough financial power to send missionaries out to different parts of the Western world. That's an interesting thought. And if that is true, then he would be sending Romans to let them know what he teaches so that they would know the doctrines that he has. Don't know if that's the case or not. Ultimately, God decided that Paul would write this. And it gives us the most complete discussion we have anywhere of salvation and righteousness. And it is a book that deserves